Hello, today I will show you how to find the percentage if you don't have a calculator, if you're not allowed to use a calculator. Um, I hope you will understand that the percentage is a fraction out of 100. So also I will show you equivalent ways of calculating the percentage of the amount. Have a look the question here. How much is 30% of 50? You have a 6 example with a different color. Have a look one of the colors and just type in the comment which one do you think is the correct answer. So, how to find the percentage? To find 1% of the number, you divide by 100. How I mentioned from the beginning, you don't have a calculator, so to find the easy way to find 1%, for example, you divide by 100. What I mean by 100? Let's have a look at that example. We have a 325 and I need to find 1% of this number. How we said, to find 1%, we divide by 100. So how many zeros you have in your 100? You have 2 zeros. So what you do, you start from the back where is your ones and you start counting 2. So you have 1, 2 and you put your decimals here. So it's gonna be 3.25. So 1% of 325 is 3.25. Let's have a look another example. Let's say 1% of 731. How I told you, to find 1%, you divide by 100 and you have 2 zeros. So what you do, you in your number 731, you start counting from the back, so you have 1, 2, and you put your decimals here, so it's gonna be 7.31. So 1% of 731 is 7.31. Let's have a look if we need to find 10%. So to find 10%, you divide by 10. So we have the same number, 325. So we have 325. How many zeros we have in 10? We have 1 0. So you go back once and your answer is going to be 32.5. So once again, you have 325. We said to find 10%, you need to divide by 10. So you just have a look how many zeros you have in 10. You have only 1. So you start counting from the back. You have 1 here. And you put your decimals. So your 10% of 325 is going to be 32.5. Let's see another few other examples. Let's have a look the second one, which is 7% of 80. So what we have to do first, let's find how much is 1%. Yeah, and we said 1%, you divide by 100, and we have 2 zeros in 100. So what you do, this is your 80. So you start counting from the back and you count in 1, 2. So 1% is 0.80. 80. So we found 1%. So how we need to find 7%? We just simply multiply 7 times 0.80, because we said 0.80 is our 1%. So 7 times 0.80 is going to be 5.6. So 7% of 80 is 5.6. Let's have a look. Example, let's say 8% of 70, for example, or okay, let's say 6% of 40. So 6% of 40. So we found 1% first, and we said we divide by 100. In 100 we have 2 zeros, so our number is 40, and you start counting your 2 zeros from the back. 1, 2, you put your decimals, so it's gonna be 0.40. So we found 1%, which is 0.40. So that simply multiply 6 times 0.40, which is 2.4. So 6% of 40 is 2.4. This is one of the way. Another way to find percentage of the amount is to use that formula, which is volume divide total volume multiply by 100. The most important when you need to solve the word problems question with percentage is you to understand the question that it's asked. The second one, sort out the information to make a basic percent problem. Sometimes you will have to subtract or add some of the numbers. And the last, the base will always be the original number, price or total. Let's see one example when we have word problem questions involving percentage. So during the last 10 years, Albert has played 1,200 games of chess. Albert has drawn 6% of the games. He has lost 33% of the games. And the question is, how many games of chess has Albert won? So, first, how I mentioned, you need to understand the question. So what we have to do first? First, we need to find out how many games Albert drew. And they told us they are 6%. Then, what we have to do, we have to find how many games he lost. And then when we found this, we will find actually how many games he won. So let's start. So we have how many games? We have 1,200 games. And we need to find first the draws, which are 6%. So 6%. So 6% of 1,200. Let's find first 1%. As we said, we divide by 100. So we have 2 zeros. And then, how I told you, you start to count from the back. 1, 2, you put your decimals. So in 1,200, 1%, it's gonna be 12. So 1%, it's gonna be 12. And we need to find 6. So you simply multiply 6 times 12, which is 72. So we found 72% of the games, they are drawn. So 72 drone. Let's find now how many games he lost. We know he lost 33% of the games. So 33% lost. And again, we have 1,200. Let's find 10%. From the beginning, I told you to find 10%, you divide by 10. How many zeros we have in 10? We have 1 0. So in our 1,200, you count just 1. And then you add your decimals. So you're going to have 120. So this is going to be your 10%. So we have 33. So you multiply 3 times 120, which is 360. So here we found 30%. Now we need to find our 3%. Here we said 1% is 12. So I multiply 3 times 12 and I will have 36. So this is my 3%. So I have here now 33. So you just plus it, your 30% to 360 and your 3%, which is 36. And you're going to have 6,936. So 33% is 396. So now, 396, it's our lost. So he lost 396 and we have 72 draw. So let's plus this one because we know them already. So 396 plus 72. So we're gonna have 8, 16, 4. So 468. How we said this is lost. This is our drone. So we have both 468. So how we will find how many times he won? You just from 1,200, you take away 468. And this is gonna be 732 games won. So we found that the 732 games won. Let's have a look another example. Peter organized a raffle. He sells 300 tickets for £5 each. The prices cost £400. He gives 55% of the profit to charity A and 45% of the profit to charity B. Work out how much each charity receive. As I told you, the most important, you need to understand the question. So what we have here, we have how many tickets he sold. So he sold 300 tickets and they cost £5 each. What else we have? We have the price cost, which is 400. Then we have another information. He gives 55% of his profit to charity A, and then he gives 45% of his profit to charity B. So we have 5 major things mentioned in our question. And what they want from us to work out how much each charity receive. So we need to find out charity A and charity B, how much they receive. So what we have to do first, we need to find out how much cost the ticket. So we have 300 ticket, which costs £5 each. So you multiply 300 by 5, and this is gonna be 1,500. Then what you have the price costs £400. So from this 1,500 which you get from your ticket, you take away this money because you pay for them, and it's gonna be left 1,100. So now this is our profit. So 1,100, it's our profit. So that means we need to work from this money. So this is our profit. So now from 1,100 we need to find charity A and charity B. So charity A, we have 55% for charity A. So I have 1,100. Let's find first 10%. In 10% we divide by 10. So I have 1,100. I simply go one number here. So my 10%, it's gonna be 110. So let's multiply 5 times 110 so we can find the 50%. So this is gonna be 550. So now let's find 1%. As we mentioned, 1% we divide by 100. So in 100 we have 2 zeros. So you go 1, 2. So you have 11. So 1% is gonna be 11. And you multiply 5 times that 11 so we can find our 5%. So now we have 55%. So we plus it 550 plus 55, and we're gonna have 605. This is our 55%. So 605 pounds receive charity A. Let's see how much receive charity B. In charity B, they told us they receive 45%. Okay, again, we have our profit, which is 1,100. And let's find, we found here 10%, which we said is 110. So we need to multiply 110 by 4. So we have 4 times 110, which is going to be 410. So this is our 40%. And then we found then 1%, which is 11. And we multiply by 5. So we can find our 5%, so which is 55. So we found then our 5%. So now we have both. So we have a 40 and 5%. So we need to plus it 440 and 55. So 440 plus 55, it's 495 pounds. So this is our 45%. So this is how much receive charity B.